I'm definitely not Sunda. All right? Sunda is in New York.
What is she doing in New York?
She went to see the family. What else do you do in New York? You see the family and you get your teeth done. Can't. I mean, there's a lot of people who try to escape LA to get proper medical attention. Yeah, it's just never been known as the medical capital of the world, except for two things. You know what those are: implants and IUV. Those are the two things that LA is known for. It's about that. Oh, they can't even do good teeth. All the celebrities go back to New York to get the teeth done. Anyhow, this is the LA School of Comedy. Yeah! Woo! I am your substitute host. And like a substitute teacher, I'm getting the same amount of respect. Be that as it may, it's been one hell of a week. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time up here, but I've been fascinated. I could hardly work this week. I couldn't resist going and watching the news every few minutes to see the latest snippet of somebody's other's nonsense. I love the way all the knives are out. The only one who's happy, totally happy in the United States of America right now is Joe Biden. I watched him give his little speech, and he had a little spring in his step. He had a smile on his face. He had a shit-eating grin. And the truth of the matter is, he was saying, I'm glad that bitch lost. He was a happy man. Nothing we can say about it. Anyhow, I'm going to bring up our first comic. You've known him from stage and screen. This is our resident drama coach, Aaron McIntyre, who is going to be given. Could you hand me your flyer?
Yes.
Aaron, thank you. Can everybody see this?
Yeah.
There we go. Can't zoom in on me because we don't have automatic zoom. All right. Film Actors Cafe is giving a complimentary acting workshop taught by Aaron, and don't make any mistakes, at AERON McIntyre on December 8th. First, we're going to take the 10 to 17-year-olds at 4:30 p.m., and then the 18-year-olds at 7. To sign up for what's going to be an earth-shattering event in this age of monumental moments in America, you have to RSVP 877-663-4561 or filmactorscafe.com. Sign up. It'll take you to a little window in which you can get your tickets. They're going fast, folks. Going fast. And now, to give you a hint of his stand-up and talk to us about his mother, comes Aaron McIntyre.
Okay, I'll talk about my mom. I got no problem with that. Yes, my name is Aaron McIntyre. It's A-E-R-O-N. It's not Aaron. It's not Aaron. It's Aaron. So please don't call me A.A. Ron, because everybody does, and it's annoying. And A.A. Ron is supposed to be anonymous. And A-A-R-O-N should be Aaron, because of aardvark. I looked it up. That's what it should be. I had a mother. I don't know if any of you have seen one of these domesticated, but mine wasn't. She was not. She was quite a lady. She used to storm out. She left one time for a year, which was fun for me and my dad, who was a military colonel who'd been in the Air Force for 30 years, and he retired, and my mother left, and he was left with a crazy hippie, pot-smoking teenager. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
You can't always get what you want.
You can't always get what you want, that's for sure. Yeah, she used to have a drinking buddy. She always had a drinking buddy. Wherever we went, she had a drinking buddy who usually lived, within a few houses. The one I remember was Mrs. Hooker. She was quite a lady. I got into a thing when I was in the 8th grade, which started me on my path to acting, which I'm sure some of you have probably seen some of the things I've been in, some of my famous lines. We were just walking in the park, man. And jump! Jump! That was another big one. And peanuts! Popcorn! Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one. That was Oscar material there. Actually, some of you may have seen the one with the. We were just walking in the park. It was Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Love it.
Yep, I was in that movie for a few minutes, and got beat up by John Vernon, and eaten by a clown. So, what else could you ask for, right? But back to my mom. My mom used to do this thing. We used to watch Mannix together. We'd watch Mannix and Cannon and Barnaby Jones and all those kinds of shows. And Mannix was my favorite because they had a little montage in the beginning where he would do this really cool thing and jump over the railing, you know. So I used to try that. I was 8, and I used to try that on our couch. We had a little circular couch, and I would run along and jump over. And you know, my mother said, "Don't do that anymore." She didn't talk like that. She was like, "Don't do that anymore." So it was a little different. But one day she was back in the back vacuuming, and I could hear the vacuum, and I knew she was far away, so I tried it again, and I jumped, went over the thing, caught my foot on the back of the couch, and boom, went right down on my head and knocked myself out. So I was out cold, laying there, and I hear this, and I open my eyes, and my mother is standing over me with a vacuum cleaner, vacuuming around my head, going, "I told you not to climb on that couch." So that was my mom. And the pandemic was actually really good for me. It actually worked out really well because I got to go remotely. I could work remotely, you know, because everybody was. So I went out to Colorado, and I took care of my mom, which was really nice. For 6 months, I took care of her. And I didn't do a very good job, though, because she died. But that's okay. She wanted to go. She was ready. She was 98. She used to get up in the morning and go, "God, why doesn't somebody just shoot me?" And she would also lay in bed, I swear, all day long. This was a running theme for 6 months. She would lay in bed and she would go, "Goodbye, goodbye, 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 goodbye." She'd say it every way she possibly could. I think she figured that there was only one way she could say it where they'd take her away, you know, and she would try that. But it finally worked. Finally, she said goodbye enough. Boy, I had a spa tonight. I have to share that with you. I went to WI. Have you ever been to WI at WI? Yeah? Oh, my God. What a place, man. I went in there, walked over to the hot, you know, to the whirlpool, you know, the hot tub, and took about 3 steps in and realized it was a cold pool. And so I thought that was a little too much for me. So I got out, and I did make the circuit, you know, the hot tub and then the sauna and then to the cold pool, and then I did a couple of rounds of that. So I'm having a little trouble talking tonight, a little bit of difficulty, but I'm here. My mother used to like ice cream sandwiches and Dr. Pepper. That was pretty much the last 6 months of her life. That was pretty much everything. That and grilled cheese sandwiches and oatmeal with toast with lots of butter. She used to always extend things like that. She'd go, "Yeah, you got me right where you want me, don't you? I'm the crazy old lady." And I always used to think that the emphasis was wrong. She should have been the crazy old lady, because she was more crazy than she was old. And she was pretty old, 98 years old. No medication, not on one single thing of medication. No high blood pressure, no cholesterol. Couldn't see worth a shit. I mean, she was practically blind and had a hard time getting from one room to the next, which I don't know if anybody in here has ever had to take care of somebody who can't get around quickly from one place to the other, but there are 4 words that you should never hear, and they are, "I have to poop!" And then there are 2 words that are even worse than that. "I'm pooping!" So that's kind of what I I dealt with for quite a while. She used to, when we were kids, she wouldn't let us curse in the house. We couldn't even say fart, which I always thought was kind of, I mean, fart, that's a pretty innocuous word. But we had to say pop. Did you pop? And still, whenever I hear the word, it bugs the shit out of me. That and pardon, because every time you burped, you had to say, pardon me. I just, there's something about it. So anyway, when she was old, she used to lie in her little lounge chair and she'd listen to detective stories, right? So I got her one of those Alexas. She could never get the name right. She'd go, Alicia! Alice! Alemia! She would come up with every fucking name except for Alexa. So finally I'd have to come in and start the thing for her. But she got this one detective audio book one time. And like I said, she didn't like cursing at all, I mean, you'd say damn, and she'd go, oh, stop that. God is watching. And she's sitting there listening, and I was doing something, and I walked through the room, and I hear the guy saying, he ran his fingers down her back through her buttocks. He inserted his finger slowly, and I'm like, oh my God, I've got to get the hell out of here because this is going to explode in just a minute. So I left, and I didn't hear a word. She didn't say a word. The whole book ended, and I came out and I said, how was that book, Mom? And she said, it was colorful. And I thought that was good. So yeah, smoking in bed, smoking in the lounge chair. Thank you, Patty, from the back. All right. Well, again, as Mark said, December 8th, come in. 4:30 to 6:30 is going to be kids from 10 to 17, young adults, we like to call them. We're not going to be doing little theater games and stuff like that. We're going to be getting down to business. And then 7 to 10, we're going to have adults. So December 8th, it's a Sunday. You got nothing else to do. Church is over. You don't have to go to midnight mass, right? Or you could go to midnight mass if you did that, right? Yeah. You could still do that. Do they still have midnight mass? Yeah. Got to keep those Christians on their toes.
And what location?
Huh?
Where?
I don't know. Here.
Oh, here.
Yeah, right here. Yeah, you get to come sit right where you're sitting if you like. That'd be great. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bring up Mr. Wonderful, Mr. Happy, Mr. Warmth, Mr. Mark Zafran.
Mark Zafran.
Bring him up, ladies and gentlemen, with a big round of applause, especially you in the back.
Oh dear, as if I'm a real comic. Anyhow, I was just noticing, you heard they banned all sorts of happiness at Beverly Hills High School this week because the kids there were demonstrating for Donald Trump. Now, of course, I don't know what the principal expected. Obviously, he's not Persian. That all these Persian kids, where 62% of the people in Beverly Hills voted for Trump. Well, I don't know what they expected. I don't know who they expected these kids to be protesting for. And it reminded me of the time my wife, who's not here and having me MC her show, was hosting the Israeli Film Festival. And the guy, Jason Blum from Blumhouse, the guy who makes the horror films, got up on stage in front of his audience of Israelis and started making anti-Trump comments. They almost had to call the police. It was, we love Trump. We love Trump. That being said, not that it all makes a difference, I will call to the stage somebody who we haven't seen in a while, Denise Wax.
Oh, yeah. Hi, guys.
Hey, how are you?
Oh, my God. It's been a hell of a week. It has been a hell of a week, and I experienced a feeling that I have not felt in many a moon after the election, and that was depression. Really, it hit me. I saw when the results start coming in, and I'm like, I'm just going to go to bed. Maybe it'll, I woke up about 3 o'clock that morning, and I am like, I just had to have a conversation with God. I'm actually from a red state. I'm from Mississippi, and you can't get any redder than Mississippi. I mean, they originated the term rednecks there. You know what I'm saying? I went to University of Mississippi, Ole Miss, Harvard of the South. Yeah, and that when I was there, I don't know what the percentage is now, but it was between 92 and 95% white when I went there, and the nickname for it was White Man's Paradise. The head of the Afro-American Studies department was a white guy. That's how white it was. I took several business courses there. It was a couple of those popular business books, like Who Moved My Cheese? I bet it was the black guy, Rich Dad, Poor You,
Damn.
One of these, yeah, true. So that was, we even read Trump's book, The Art of the Steal. I think they're changing the name to it now, The Art of the Steal, and how to, what was the last one? How to make friends and influence white people. That's how, so I speak white. I'm very fluent in that. I work in the entertainment industry. And I was just really thinking, and being a Christian, growing up a Christian, I really couldn't understand what was happening, because Trump told us years ago that he could literally shoot somebody in the middle of the street and get away with it. And being in the entertainment industry, having dreams and all that kind of stuff, and I'm meeting, comics here, there, and actors here and there, and musicians here, there, and yonder. You really have to, and you pray for things to happen. You pray for success. And what I learned this past week is people pray to God and people pray to the devil. And they will go with whoever answers them first. You pray to God and the devil to see who will answer you first. There was, I remember one of my first jobs out here, I worked at this little company called Disney. I was getting back-to-back projects there. I heard about this company where women were being promoted very quickly, very fast, fast and furious. I mean, I would hear about women who started off as PAs, becoming APs and things like that. And I talked to my line producer. I'm like, I want to work at this company. I hear nothing but good things, especially, just seeing the rise of women, the projects that they're doing, they're being nominated. Is there any way you can intro me to someone there? He was like, sure. What company is it? If they have a relationship with Disney, I can get you in. It's the Weinstein Company. And he was like, I don't think you wouldn't fit in there. You wouldn't fit in there. And I was like, no. I've heard nothing but good things. He was like, you wouldn't be a right fit, is what he kept telling to me. You wouldn't be a good fit for what it is you're trying to do. Just keep on working hard. And I was very insulted because I took from that, is it because of my size? Is it because I'm black? Is it because of this, that, the other? Why are you telling me that I wouldn't be a good fit for the Weinstein Company? They're winning Oscars, and I hear nothing. I see, like, women really, he was like, that wouldn't be a good fit for you. Okay, so I really thought it was racism. I really thought, I heard nothing but good things. It was really hard to try and get in and get a meeting there. That's how elite they were, because they were so elite. Anyway, moving on, I was working at another little small company called Paramount. I was walking back from the commissary one day, and I was in direct path with this white guy. And it was almost like a Hallmark movie meeting, to where I'm like, this pastor's going to get out of my way, because I'm not, I'm not moving. And he was probably like, who is this walking in my path? And we got really face to face like this. We caught onto each other's elbows and we pivoted around each other, because we would not get out of each other's path. And then we both just burst out kind of laughing. And he was like, who are you? What are you doing here on the lot? Tell me about yourself. So I told him about myself. I just started the show. I'm working on this stage here, this, that, and the other. And I'm like, well, who are you? He was this older white guy. And he was like, my name is such and such. See that building right there? It's named after my family. My family were one of the founders here, and blah, 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 in the history of Paramount Studios. So he was like, well, what is it you want to do in the business, and where are you from? Just tell me a little bit about yourself. So I did, and I'm like, I came out to be a writer. I want to be a writer. And he was like, well, the good. He was like, give me your information, and, we'll stay in contact. I was so excited. I went back and talked to my a different line producer, and I said, do you know a guy named such and such? And he says that such and such building is named after. He was like, oh, yeah, he's a legend. He's a legend. And I was like, he just got my information, and he said that, he would read my script, and I told him I was this, that, and the other, and he just kind of laughed, chuckled a little bit, so I didn't think much about it. Later that night, around 10:30, my phone rings, and it was him calling me. Tell me a little bit more about yourself, and where are you from, and how long you been out here, and are you dating anybody? And I was like, oh, yeah, I'm here, and then blah, blah, blah. And then his voice got a little bit, he started off with a booming voice like yours, and he got a little bit softer. It was after 10:30, so all of a sudden he was, well, tell me, Denise, do you have any sexual fantasies? What are your sexual fantasies? I was like, well, are you seeing anybody? And blah, blah, blah. And I mean, it just took a 180 turn. I didn't know what I was dumbfounded. I didn't know what to say. I was embarrassed. I was dumbfounded, and I was kind of like, what happened? So I went back the next day. I'm like, oh my God, he called me, and by the end of the conversation, he was like, yeah, I'd like to read some of your stuff. Why don't you, here's my number. He said, he didn't give me his number. He said, call the main, when you're on the lot, you just dial 0 and they'll give you he said, call switchboard and ask for my office and talk to, Becky, whatever her name was, my secretary, and tell her that schedule you in for a meeting and bring one of your scripts by, and I'd like to take a look at it, and we'll further this conversation and see where this can go. So the next day, I was so confused. I went back, talked to my line producer. I said, he called last night, and he's going to read one of my scripts. I said, but it just got kind of weird at the end, you know what I'm saying? He would start asking me this, that, and the other. He knew that that's what the guy was known for. I mean, if you worked in how you probably know as well. And I was like, well, should I call and should I make an appointment? Because he was like, he'll read my script, and my line producer, they have to break it down. He didn't want to read your damn script. You got to be smart about these things. So all that to say, was that my 2-minute light or 1 minute? 2. All that to say is you really have to be careful for what you want. We had a convicted felon who, there was no way out for him. I saw jail and all the things that he said. And who did he make a deal with to get to now he is the leader of the country? He's going to be making our laws that he was allowed to break. You know what I'm saying? And he was dealing with somebody to say, you go up there and you do a fellatio on a mic on live TV, and he did it. That's who he made a deal with to get to work. So just really be careful who you're asking, who you're praying to, because there was another guy who did the same thing on top of the world, having parties, all the A-list stars, and you see where he's at now. When he comes back to collect from you for this little favor you get, it's going to be hell to pay. And I'm Denise Flax, and that's how my week has gone. Thank you, guys.
Here I am again.
Here he is.
Here I am.
Here he is.
Yeah, I think every time I hear about the Trump felon story, Yeah, I have to laugh because I don't know how many times I did that when I was representing real estate developers. Yeah, every single time. Like it's a crime. Nobody considers it a crime. Not in New York. In New York, it's the art. You know, everybody puts down whatever they think something's worth. It was a little shocking to the New York real estate world. They were all saying, "Hey, is she coming after me next?" Lord, no, she came after some clients of mine, same statute, and lost. You know what? It's all a game. No matter at the end, whoever comes in office, the ruling class is going to make us slaves. Anyhow, that being said, I'm going to call up a denizen of one of those towns in the world where they know that the ruling class is going to make you slaves. Patty!
Hey!
Patty!
That's me! Denise! It's me, Denise! Give it up for Denise! Come on, you guys! A little jolt of, because it's one more time. Come on! Thank you, one and all. Thank you for that energetic. I don't know if this is equal parts open stand-up comedy, open mic, and intervention. It's just, I mean, what's going on this week? Anything? Yeah.
Nothing really.
It's funny you mentioned white man's paradise. That's how Candace Owens refers to her vagina. Didn't know if you knew that. And you were eaten by a clown.
Yes, I was.
Eaten by a clown. I was eaten by a rodeo clown.
Yeah.
Her name was Verlene. I dated her. You know, she was. She actually, I had a tragic mishap. It involved a reverse cowgirl dismount. Yeah, never let a rodeo clown get up on top. It's resulted in a condition that's persisted called Peroni's, which sounds like a delicious lunch special at the Olive Garden. It's actually it's your cock gets bent.
Yeah.
My cock is bent a little to the left, which, you know, kind of like my politics a little bit. But I think if this year thus far has proved anything, is we really don't need a president.
We don't.
Joe was in the basement, right? Joe was in the basement. And the thing about, I think what's been proven is that, and I know Trump supporters, I walk amongst them. I live in Brentwood, which is kind of filled with kind of pathetic white liberals and Persians. Who are all Trump supporters, by the way. But what I'm going to say, I'm going to go out on a limb here, but all Trump supporters aren't racists, but many of them are on the spectrum. Many of them are on the spectrum, but not enough to elect him by a landslide. And I think if that proves anything, is there's a lot more assholes than racists in this country. A lot more. If my white privilege allows me to see that, excuse me. But there's way more. And look, did Trump win the swastika pancake breakfast demographic? Obviously.
Yes.
Without a fucking doubt. But let's compare him to Hitler. It's a bit much, you know. Kamala Hitler, apparently the garbage has spoken. America has chosen Hitler. But, you know, in a way, and I don't mean to speak ill of the dead, but, you know, Hitler, I never met him. He's not here to defend himself. But he did write his own book. Trump didn't write that book. That was ghostwritten. He did not write that book. He did not. And if Hitler wanted to build a wall, there would be a wall built. He would have fucking built the wall. When I say, first of all, Hitler wasn't funny. You know, he didn't have any Jewish writers. They were indisposed at the time. Trump is not so much fucking Hitler as maybe Orange Caligula or Mussolini, equal parts Mussolini and bloated Ryan Seacrest. We're here now, and look, here's the deal. We can't claim to be tolerant and then be intolerant of a choice that's made through a democratic process. I may be dissatisfied. I might not be happy. You might not be happy. But at the end of the day, once again, the garbage has made its choice. And all I can say is we're going to be fine. It's not the end of the world. Believe me, it's not. Like, what I find amazing is they're all out about fucking Latino men. These fucking Latino men. Let's blame white women. It works better. Fuck it, you know? But if we're going to blame Latino men, Mexico just elected the first woman Jewish president. You know that? Schoenberg. And guess, Trump just appointed his chief of staff a woman. A woman. The first head of state that he spoke to is Schonberg from Mexico. So I don't really know what to make of all of it. I do think this. First of all, once again, all Trump supporters aren't racist, but all racists are Trump racist. Trump supporters. All racists are Trump supporters, you know. But I'm not. Here's the deal, though. It's like a lighter, okay? Everybody that has a lighter isn't an arsonist, but every arsonist has a lighter. Trump's a lighter. In a way that it makes it easier for people to express things that maybe we're not fucking happy with. But I woke up. I live in Brentwood, and there's we have homeless there, and you have your regular homeless in LA. Like I was on my way here, and I walked out of Trader Joe's, and there was an unhoused maiden there, and I've seen her there before. She called me Hot George Bush. Well, you know, I'm 61. I'll take the compliment where I can. And I love her. And I was giving her $5, and a guy pulled up in a gold-plated Mercedes. He got out. He goes, "Hey, she's just going to spend that on drugs and alcohol." I said, "That's what I was going to spend it on." Do unto others. She would have them do unto you. And there's a thing called authenticity. Here's the deal. If I'm unhappy, the other side are assholes, right? But America sometimes needs an asshole. But an authentic asshole. Like, when you saw Trump with those French fries, he was so fucking happy. And that was real. He was really happy about it. Did you see him? And when he was talking about Arnold Palmer's penis, he was really fucking excited about Arnold Palmer's penis. Which only goes to prove he's never seen Dennis Rodman naked. Yeah. It's a long time ago. Carmen Electra offered me a three-way. I was going through a phase. But it's the same type of racism that makes people call Elvis the king of rock and roll. If you think Elvis Presley was the king of rock and roll, you never saw Chuck Berry naked. Remember? He was 35 when he wrote Sweet Little 16. But it wasn't about a girl, it was about his penis. Have you seen Chuck Berry? They had the pictures. In Hustler magazine. He liked those dirty Polaroids. Boy, I tell you what. You know what the internet did? It took the sweet, sweet mystery out of seeing naked women. Do you know what I mean? Do you know how hard it was to see a naked woman in 1978? I saw pictures, right, in my dad's sock drawer. But now you're 11, you have access in your pocket to every filthy porn ever. Oh my God. I mean, I remember my dad had Playboy. They didn't even, look, I came up as a man sexually during the Bush era. Not the Bush administration, that came later. But the era of glorious, wonderful Big Bush. And I remember I would look at Playboy magazine, and they didn't actually show the zha-zha. There'd be like a side view, and you could see a little bit of the bush glistening. And we fucking loved the bush. Did we not, Mark? We loved that bush, didn't we, Aaron?
Love the bush.
You know why we loved that bush? Because there was some pussy behind it. Men love anything if there's some pussy behind it. Am I right, men?
Yeah.
God damn it. That's the reason we do most of the things we don't really fucking want to do is... You think that we like standing at the mall holding your purse? No!
What?
We don't. But if there might be some pussy behind it, I'm going to hold your fucking purse for a while. I'm not going to go hiking. I fucking hate hiking. What do I want to be out in the fucking woods for? My wife, she took me 2 weeks ago, the LA Arboretum. It's a fucking museum for trees. Filled with middle-aged gay men and Asian tourists. Really fucking fun place. But you know what? Turned out okay. You know why? There was some pussy behind it. Some pussy was behind it, and I was a happy, happy, happy man. And also, I want to say something. I'm going to say it out loud, and I don't care who hears it. My penis has no ideology. None whatsoever. None. I'm going to say this. You might think less of me, but I was in Mississippi a couple years ago, and I met a hot fucking Klan girl. Hot! You know, and she was classy. She had Egyptian cotton robes, high thread count. I didn't get in between those sheets. And I didn't fuck her, but I made sweet, sweet love to her on my Barack Obama Hope and Change bedspread. And I don't want to say that I made an impression on that gal, but I saw her again about 2 years later, and she was only dating black guys. So, perhaps my penis has magical properties. But it does not have a political leaning. Once again, it does go to the left. I explained that to you before. But I made love to a gal who had a Confederate flag on her left boobie, but from behind. I'm not a racist. I do find this strange though. My neighbor, Big D, he's a hairstylist for Blackish, and he's like Anthony Anderson's personal hairstylist. And we're great. We're both married to Filipinas, so we have that in common. But he called me his N-word earlier tonight because he hadn't seen me. I said, "What's up, my N-word?" I don't know what this means. I feel so high. I'm still fucking high. I'm a 61-year-old white dude, man. I never feel cooler than when a cool black dude calls me his N-word. Oh, he's a qualified user, by the way. Don't get me wrong. He's qualified, and I base that qualification solely on the color of his skin, so I'm not a racist. That's okay. I'm not one of these guys that has N-word envy. You know these white people with N-word envy? Oh, you can say it. I can say it. Look, those type of white folks, they're mad they can't say it in public, but I guarantee you, they say it a lot at home. They say it a lot at home. But I'm not an N-word abolitionist. You know what I mean? I'm not. I come from the south side of Chicago. That word from a comic aspect, and I'm an immigrant. I came here from another country. I never heard that word. I never heard people called colors until I came to the United States. Never. We had Protestants and Catholics, and we had enough fucking problems with that. We killed each other for fucking 400 years over that. Over a different interpretation of "thou shalt not kill" of the white Jesus. Anyway, I heard white people say it when I came here, and it didn't sound right. I said, and there were people I didn't want to be like. Then I'll never forget. I was about 14, and Red Fox said it, and I laughed my ass off. You know what I mean? I said, I want to be like him. You know, and here's the deal. I come from south side of Chicago. The area I come from is 80% black. Okay, I'm not one of these white guys that has one black friend. That would be racist. Although I am most of my black friends' only white friend. Holy. But I understand white people are a trip. You know what I mean? It's a lot to take. You know what I mean? They're kissing their dogs on the mouth. No face towels in their bathroom. What the fuck is up with these white people? I don't know what to tell you. I'm happy to be here, though. At this point, and I think you guys would be happy to know, I'm fully erect. I know, Denise, it's a bit much. Yeah, I'll tell you a story. This is 100% true. My daughter, who's my favorite, I have a daughter. She's Nia. She's 29. She's a criminal attorney, drives a Jaguar, makes 6 figures, owns her own condo, still on my phone plan. I don't know when that ends. But when she was in law school, she was very radical. She was going to burn down the patriarchy. She said, "We're burning down the patriarchy, Dad." Do you know what I found out? The patriarchy is me. And I would gently remind her that the patriarchy is the reason she has 0 student loan debt. Patriarchy's been pretty fucking good to her. But I'm going to tell you something. Do you know who she represented last year in his appeal? Harvey Weinstein. Yeah. Yeah, the real world changes and Jaguars are expensive. I said, "Why would you represent a rich pervert like that?" She said, "The poor ones can't afford my fee, Dad." Oh, yeah, it comes down to the real deal, baby. It changes. Oh, what are you going to do? She thinks I'm stupid, though. I figure out I've paid for just enough education for her to look down on me. Because I have no education, Denise. No, I dropped out of school when I was 15. I have what's called a GED. And if you don't know what that stands for, you've probably got one, too. Just not that smart. And it was a bad time, you know. Chicks did not dig me. I was briefly a spirit animal for incels. We didn't call them incels then, though. We called them losers. And I was a loser, no doubt about it. This is great. We're having fun, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're having fun here. Let's give it up for us. Because today I was feeling great. You know what I mean? I got up, I was feeling great, and I thought to myself, "Hey, Patty, Why don't you get in your car and drive 32 minutes and pay $10 to be mildly ignored by your peers? That seems like a fucking great idea. But not you guys. You guys are great. I love you. I love actually, Denise, you could appreciate this. Other than you, this looks like the waiting room at my urologist's office. Holy shit. I had a monumental thing. Do you know that I've officially outlived my urologist? I had a urologist die. And it's strange because I had to go get a new urologist. And this you won't relate to, but there's a thing, an examination that you get. You can kind of imagine what the examination is. But he had to give me that examination being the new urologist, and I'm over a table, very vulnerable. I can appreciate the vulnerability. I'm over a table, and he inserted the digit, and I hear him say, "Oh, for Christ's sake, whatever you do, don't get an erection." I looked over my shoulder. I said, "I won't." He said, "Oh, I wasn't talking to you." Then I noticed about 30 minutes into it, both of his hands were on my shoulders. Anyway, we're going out for Italian food this Saturday. This has been great. You guys, I want to say this. Oh, this is just in. Do you know ayahuasca is the new, is the pickleball of drugs? Officially now, just want to jot that down. Have you done the ayahuasca? Yeah, when guys that look like me do it, it's out of fashion. Somebody told me that I look vaguely like I play pickleball. Pickleball, you know what that is? That's code for you look like an old white guy who can't afford to golf. Bingo, that's me. You know what's weird is I'm an immigrant and I came here when I was little, and back then it was a good thing. I consider myself a patriot, and that was a good thing. Now when I say it, it sounds vaguely racist. You know what I mean? It sounds just vaguely racist. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like it's not a gleeful. It sounds kind of like Taco Tuesday, which is my favorite vaguely racist food event. Although if you think about it, the soup plantation, that is fucking racist. Who the fuck came up with that? I have read 17 books on the antebellum South. I've seen Gone with the Wind over 34 times. Never once was soup mentioned. You know what I mean? What were they doing sitting around going, hey, I got an idea. Why don't we make it delicious, affordable, and a little bit racist? Just a little, pickles and racist. Because I have everything. I'm an immigrant. I came here when I was young. I have everything you need to make it in these United States. Confidence, ignorance, with a little bit of white privilege sprinkled on it. And don't forget that little bit of white privilege, because it makes all the difference. I'm an immigrant, but I have white immigrant privilege. Let me explain to you what that means. I can go anywhere, and people don't think I'm from somewhere else. Watch Fox News, and if you don't. But if you do, they have lots of segments on immigrants. None of them look like me. None of them are from my side of the crayon box. Wonder why that is. Pigment of my imagination? Congenital skin condition? Now, for instance, my wife, her parts come from the Philippines, but she was assembled here. If we're at a gathering, at some point, an older white couple will come up. It's usually the wife will go, where did you learn to speak English so well? Bill, come here. Listen to her speak English. That's just wonderful. That's wonderful that you've learned to speak. Where did you learn to speak English so well? Burbank, bitch. Conversely, I'm going to say something, too. My wife is a tiny brown woman who I adore. And constantly, other tiny brown people will walk up to her and just start speaking Spanish willy-nilly to her. Just start speaking Spanish, and she hates it. Racist? Just an asshole? Or maybe neither. Maybe not either. Maybe they're just trying to be nice. Here's the thing. It's time to put all the shit aside. You know who was big on identity politics and never won a primary? Hitler.
It all comes back to that.
Well, first of all, Hitler is much maligned. Once again, don't mean to speak ill of the dead, but he did invent half the high five. And eventually, he did kill Hitler.
He did it.
It was him.
He
He conquered a lot of the Western world, but he couldn't be married for a day. One day, he was enough. To say Eva was walking around going, "You call this a bunker? You call this my sister? That's a bunker." This is good. You guys have been, well, kind of mediocre as an audience, but I love you anyway. So what I'm going to do is wish you all very well, and just say, listen, buckle up. If you're tolerant, it means you're tolerant even when you don't get what you want. And once again, remember, America loves an asshole, as long as it's an authentic asshole. A real asshole. Remember John Wayne? Asshole. We loved him. Do you remember when he wanted to beat the shit out of the Indian woman who was accepting an Oscar on behalf of Marlon Brando? Remember that, 1972, who turned out to be an Italian actress? I love America! And Marlon Brando was a motherfucker, am I right?
Yeah, he was.
Fucking goofy. This has been wonderful. Anyway, I'm going to leave because this is the point in my act where all of you are looking at me and feeling a little bit better about yourself. I am. My gift to you. Good night. I'm going to bring up the master of ceremonies here, and I want a heartfelt clap, a real rousing, kind of mutually orgasmic welcome for the one and only Mark Zaffron. Come on! I've been Patty. Good night.
It's the most political I've ever seen Patty, but there was a point where I thought you were the second coming of Albert. So, I'll end on this note. Hitler never ran for election. Hitler never took an election. He never had a primary. He was not elected the leader of the German people. There was no electoral college. There was no popular vote. What happened is that the Nazis, by use of force and all kinds of riots and everything else, won a majority in the Reichstag. And the guy who was really running things was Fat Herman. You remember Herman Göring. And Fat Herman was the president of the Reichstag, and they forced Hindenburg, at about the same age as Joe Biden, and probably the same mental capacity, to appoint Hitler as Chancellor of Germany. Then they burned down the Reichstag, blamed it on some idiot Dutchman. Next thing you know, there were all these laws being passed, taking away people's rights. Something like FEMA. You remember the X-Files. You got to watch out for FEMA. But also, on the other Hitler note, Hitler had a ghostwriter. It was Rudolf Hess. And I don't know what was going on in that cell between Rudolf Hess and Adolf Hitler, because later on Rudolf was so tired of his relationship with Hitler, he got into a plane and crashed it in England, claiming he was coming to make peace. All right, history lesson comes back to you all, and believe it or not, what I'm telling you is true history. And by the way, Harvey Weinstein, bad guy. I once watched him on a plane. He actually got into pajamas. Who the hell gets into pajamas on the red eye coming from L.A. to New York and sends his assistant to sit in the back? Harvey Weinstein. Anyhow, look. This is the L.A. School of Comedy. This is Freaky Friday. All right? That's Aaron McIntyre over there. Everybody give Aaron recognition. He's going to have a very successful open house if you'll come. Good night.
Good night.
Fare thee well.